would anybody want to move from corporate life to beekeeping? Well, that's the story of Lulu Letlape, and she's from Bongi Bees, joining us in studio today. Lulu, briefly share with us the story behind founding Bongi Bees, and what a lovely name.
Amazing. The name is beautiful. So Bongi means be thankful. So just starting there, I'm saying I'm thankful to the bees for my life because they rescued me. So I was working at corporate, very stressful environment, and you wake up in the morning while it's dark. You get back from the office, you're home when it's dark, so you don't even see the sun. You don't get the vitamin D that we need. So I was very stressed, and my body just collapsed. I was eventually diagnosed with autoimmune disease, which at that stage I couldn't hear, I couldn't walk, and I was really vegetative. So I really decided to move. I was living in Midrand, and I moved further north to Pretoria, and I wanted a place where I could heal. That's how I was introduced to bees. A friend of mine suggested that bees could provide a little bit of healing at the state that I was in at that moment. So I started with just 5 boxes, and for me to get the honey that I needed to move away from sugar, because you eat wrongly when you're working and you stress and you're never home. So I started to eat correctly, change my patterns of life, but the environment as well is full of bees and it's buzzing, and that's when I started to heal. So Bongi Bees is me saying, I'm thankful to these small little beakies.
What a lovely story. Now, you've moved from corporate life to beekeeping. You knew nothing about it. So talk to us about the training. What did that entail?
So how I started, I knew I had to do beekeeping as one of the solutions I needed to implement. So I went on a 2-day training. That's how I started. So the 2-day training helps you understand bees, because it's important that we understand their value. We understand how they operate, because when you're keeping them for financial gain, you need to make sure they survive and they are able to produce. So I did that course and then practically went on site. In fact, I trained with my husband and he was like, no, I don't want to be, no. So I remained alone on the project. I loved it. So the buzz around, the fear was there at the beginning. I feared them. Before I would have been one of the people who crunch them when I see them. Yes. So I had no knowledge at all. So when I got this training, the guy came and helped me on site. We set up 5 boxes. And as I was with him and I saw how relaxed he was, I was like, this is amazing. But the feeling as well, you feel different when you're amongst the bees. There's a certain coolness and calmness that you experience when you're amongst them. So that's how I got into it.
So how big is the team?
So my team at the moment is 6 people, including me. But I started 7 years ago. So I've been training. One of the guys has been with me for 7 years. So I've been training him. He's now an expert as me. So yeah, it's been ongoing. Just slowly though, because they take long to adjust. So bees are very, very funny people. So they like you or they don't like you, and they understand when you're taking good care of them and if you don't. So we are happy in the environment living with them.
You said you started with 5 boxes. So
Correct.
How many have you got today?
100 today.
Wow.
Yes.
That is unbelievable.
I'm at 100 today. And that presents problem because space becomes an issue. So I've now moved some of my boxes to Northwest, where I got somebody to allow me space in their farm to house the bees. So that's another way of surviving the issue of space, because they need their food. For you to have production coming out of them, they must have flora and fauna around them. So in a space that I'm in, it was enough. So I needed to get a bigger space. Yeah.
Lulu, there are so many different views about bees being under threat in South Africa. What is your view?
You know, we see lesser and lesser of bees in their natural environment now. And I think that's a sad story. So just a month ago, I got approached by a guy who got a tender, and the tender was to cut gum trees. And then he says, I've got bees, so I'm going to burn them, so come and remove them. I mean, that is sad. But the buildings that you see coming up, all the construction that is good for the country's economy, bad for the bees because they lose their natural habitat. So that's what we're struggling with. Also, if you look at farmers who are planting and they use insecticides, when bees go there, they eat poison and they die. So there are issues that are facing the bee community at this moment. And I think the more and more we talk about it and the more and more government is aware, there will be conditions laid down for people to take care when they do insecticides, for example. Just make sure that we're not exposing the bees to potential danger.
But on the other side, we've got farmers that have bee gardens.
Correct, absolutely. And that's the only way to have both living together. So there's a timeline, for example. You can do a pesticide long before the flowers come, so that by the time the bees come, your flowers are safe or your plants are safe. So there's a way of dealing with it, but it is, at the moment, not an understood environment that bees pollinate almost 80% of our crops in the world, actually, is not understood.
So what do you produce and who's your market?
So I do raw honey. So I manufacture my own honey on site, and I've got a manufacturing center. So I produce the raw honey in a bottle, which I brought for you. And I use that as well. So everything that comes out of bees, we use. So once I've done the honey, what remains is called wax. And I make that for wax for people who do creams, who do candles. So they come and buy just the wax. Another element that comes from the bees is propolis. And propolis is more medicinal. And people use that for tinctures, for coughs, for cuts. Very good. You can even make sure that the cut sign is gone totally. So a lot of stuff that is used by the medicine environment, the beauty environment, comes from the wax and propolis.
I've heard that honey is actually the natural antibiotic.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
We had an incident where one of my guys got cut. I mean, the finger almost opened up. And we just put raw honey and close. We never even put any treatment. Just honey, washed it clean with water, plain water, and raw honey. And it's healed. You can't even see the cut. So it is an antibiotic, but we're not educated about it. And I think the medical industry will be like, we're going to lose our business. So
that's where you come in.
Shouldn't say that.
You'll have to present some courses on.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a goal, a 5-year plan. You're a business. So where do you want to go?
Yeah, so I'm at 100 boxes now. I'm hoping to go to 500 in 3 years. I want to go commercial because my honey is special. It's in Pretoria East. And the most special thing is jacarandas. It's alus in Pretoria, so it's special than other areas. So the value and the tangible feel of the honey for Pretoria people, but also globally, will be different. So I do want to go export, but I also want to do pollination. So pollination, what you were talking about, where farmers need bees. Instead of farmers keeping the bees and they don't have expertise, I bring my bees to their farms and they pollinate and I take them out and they can continue working. So,
one more question. How do you share your knowledge? Do you have youth? Have you got an education program?
Yes, I do. So I'm currently training women from Cullinan and Rayton. And these women have been training for a year. So they come to my farm every Thursday. They get training and then I've got your boxes there as well. So I get their boxes donated by different companies. And those women are now beekeepers themselves. And I've opened a company for them. They're running their own businesses. We're going to grow that project going forward next year. But yes, and also I do walk-in. Somebody can come in and want to work with me while I work with bees, and then do your own extraction, do your own bottling of your own honey. So the experience is there. I do a lot of markets as well where I talk about honey and talk about the benefits of honey for various people and environments.
Well, Lulu, that's a lovely story. Good luck. And maybe we should talk again in a few years to see if you got those 500 boxes. I'm sure you're going to get them.
Absolutely.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much.
That was Lulu Letlape, and she's from Bongi Bees in Rayton near Pretoria, talking to us about her leaving the corporate life for beekeeping.